Welcome back. I'm Marcus Kowal with MMA Nut, and we got Daria Berenato with us, and Ron Henderson is making his Bellator debut on November 15th. How are you, Ron?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm good, and being a gentleman, I can't believe I didn't ask you. How are you, Daria?
I'm well, thank you.
Back in training again?
Yeah, yes, I'm sick right now, so not today. I didn't get to spar with you guys today.
Not today, not today. And you're winding down your training, or you're in the middle of the training camp? You got a couple of weeks left, right?
Right in the middle of it, just tuning up some things I need to do, and making sure I'm gonna peak at the right moment. I don't want to crash, you know, with all my training. Really hard for this this fight.
And November 15th, Bellator 131. You're making Bellator debut. You're 3-0 as a pro. You're a brown belt world champion in jiu-jitsu. You had quite a decent amount of amateur fights as well. But this is a step up in competition, correct?
Yeah, that's a big step up just because, number one, I think the fact that it's on the big stage. I've never fought in front of the amount of people I know I'm going to fight in front of right now. And I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. So I'm like, oh, this is like my one chance to get to where I want to get. But I'm gonna say the guy I'm going to fight, he's undefeated. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated for a reason. But, yeah, it's really big. It's important for me.
Being a world champion in jiu-jitsu, and we see a lot of people commenting on how MMA and jiu-jitsu is going apart and it's not as big of a part of mixed martial arts anymore. Would you agree? Would you feel that your jiu-jitsu is a big part of your game still?
My jiu-jitsu is a huge part of my game still, and I kind of adapted to MMA still. I'm not one of those jiu-jitsu guys who gets punched in the face and they let go of something because I train for that. The guys that I train with, we get punched in the face when we go for stuff. So I do kind of adapt it a little bit, but it's important to have, because I've seen a lot of fights where guys have no jiu-jitsu and they're done in seconds. So you really need it.
So just your teammate Pedro Munoz, who showed that jiu-jitsu still works in 37 seconds,
yes, he
right?
does. And I felt Pedro's guillotines many times. He's probably the only person who's been able to guillotine me on a regular basis my whole jiu-jitsu career.
Wow. So
that's how dangerous his is. When he has it and I see it on TV, I'm like, oh, they're done.
Do you think he'll make it all the way?
Pedro's going to make it. He has the desire and the work ethic like I've seen in no one else other than myself. But he works hard when he has a fight, when he doesn't have a fight, when training is over, before training starts. Pedro has everything, I think, the willpower to get there.
So you say you do a lot of your training over at Blackhouse.
Yes.
But there's a lot of big guys over there as well, like Kevin Casey, like we had on last week. Who are some of your regular training partners? Is Pedro one of them?
Well, outside of Pedro beats me up a lot, but it's good for me to learn from Pedro. I have a couple other smaller guys over there. Jacob is a guy that he's brand new, but he's a world-class jiu-jitsu guy that I get to work with. I have a couple small guys like Kyle. He's a wrestler, so he really helps me with that. He's from the Midwest area somewhere. And Jose Huerta, so he's a boxer. So I have a few guys that are small that kind of help me, and I kind of want to go with those guys a lot, so I get used to it. But then there's times where I may have to get matched up with a taller guy in training. It's like, hey, well, I may fight a guy with long reach, so why not try it?
Now, Bellator 131, there's been a lot of talks about the main event, Bonnar versus Tito Ortiz. What's your opinion on the charades on the...
Well, I mean, I understand what goes into play with how you have to sell a fight, because I actually knew about my fight for some time, but I couldn't tell anyone, and I was told to watch that actual event where they called Bonnar and Tito out to sell the fight. So I'm excited, like, oh wow, I'm gonna be on this card. And then I see some of this stuff. So I think what Bonnar did is kind of a super low blow. I mean, I agree with Tito. You don't talk about someone's family and things like that. But again, you got to sell it. You want people there. It's great for me to be on a card that's hyped. It makes me like, wow, dude, I'm going to be here. People are going to watch me fight.
And the reason why we have this up right now, the weigh-ins for the UFC 179 in Brazil are on the ways, and we have Christos Giorgos, who's just stepping on the scale for the first time for the UFC. And you've trained with Christos as well, and obviously you've trained with Christos on a regular basis. What do you think?
And he makes weight.
He made weight very easily. The one reason why we keep this up as well is we want to see if what's going to go down between Chad Mendes and Jose Aldo. Do you think there's going to be any shoving going on at the weigh-ins?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think right now with that. I think this the fact that he's been out there before, Mendes has been out there in Brazil before, and they've already kind of did that whole stuff. I mean, it's going to be an intense stare-down, I think, but I don't think any shoving.
No?
No.
What about you?
I think he's right. I think it'll be pretty professional. What do you think?
Yeah,
I
I don't think so. I think Chad Mendes made it very clear he does not like Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
And so I think there's going to be a little bit, not Conor McGregor style, you know, not that
right,
much.
not over
I
the
think
top.
there's going to be a little bit. Yeah,
Little
I
bit?
think they're going to say some words, so probably not very friendly to each other. And it will be interesting to see. Chris Oz was about to square off against Burns here in a second once Burns made weight, which he hopefully will do because it's the first time he's actually coming down to 55. He's been fighting 170, so it'll be interesting to see if he makes weight. And the rest of the team are downstairs watching the weigh-ins as well. So
Are they really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
Do you think that whole thing being on a big stage makes a difference in your performance?
I think for people who haven't competed in certain events, yes. Because I actually talked to Pedro about that before. Like, Pedro, dude, like, how did you not get those UFC jitters? You fought a top 3 guy, big stage. How did you not have it? And he was saying that he's been doing this his whole career. He's fought here, he's fought there. And like I said, I've competed on the big stage as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned.
Yeah.
So competing at any Worlds event, it's huge. There's crap load of people over there, so you kind of get used to having people watch you. But then again, even Kevin, I call him my big brother. He gave me some positive words. Look, man, these people are here to watch you. You go out there and do your thing. Don't look at this like you have to prove yourself. Oh, this is my only chance and all that stuff. He said, look, they're here to watch you, so enjoy that moment. Go do your thing and be you. So I'm like, you know what? Best advice I heard about it. So I don't think this guy I'm fighting is going to beat me. I don't think he has the tools right now to beat me. Plus, I've trained really hard for this, so I don't think I have to worry, but I'm not going to overestimate him or underestimate him, I should say.
Now, being a world champion in jiu-jitsu, so when you competed in the finals for the world championships as a brown belt, it must have been a pretty decent crowd for that as well, right?
Oh, always. It's always there. And then when you have brown and black belts competing, everyone's there, everyone's watching, and you just feel the pressure just in itself, like knowing, dude, if I win, I'm a world champ. If I lose, I lost again. I mean, it took me years to get there. I lost as a white, blue, purple belt, and I finally got there. It was like a 5-year-long dream, but there's tons of people there watching, so you know the pressure's there.
And you said 5 years in the making. You had quite a few amateur fights, but you were pretty active. You fought a couple of times, I remember, within about a month in between each fight.
This is going to be my, 4th fight this year. So I'm been very active this year as far as fighting. I turned pro in January. I had a fight and had a month. Oh, hey, you want to fight again? Yes, let's do it again. Hey, you want to fight again? Yes, let's do it again. And I think staying active is best for me.
And you look young, but you're not that young.
No, I'm not that young. That's
How old
funny.
are you?
I'm actually 34. I don't look 34
Yes,
at
right?
all.
It doesn't look
I
it.
get carded at the movies and anywhere I go. Hey, let me see your ID. I
as
swear
you
to you.
should.
I tried to go see a scary movie. Can we see your ID? I said, you didn't ask for my ID when I bought the ticket.
That
Yeah.
is so You definitely age well, so
Well, thanks.
kudos for that.
I can thank my dad for that.
Yes. So you go down to 125.
Yeah.
It's a new division in Bellator.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. Is
Yes.
it a hard weight cut for you? Or
For me, no. It's not a hard weight cut. I tend to walk around my weight about 130 usually. Usually 129.
Really?
I stay in shape. I train every day. And because I compete in jiu-jitsu tournaments where I have to weigh in the gi, so you have to cut a
Right.
little extra weight. So it's always best to just stay close to it. So that's
Okay.
why.
So-
Actually, for no gi, I compete at 122. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
to be pretty light.
wow.
So
So do
this
you
is not a
feel
new cut.
No, it's not. It's a normal cut for me.
do you feel smaller than a lot of guys in your division?
I
or-
think with the weight, like the day after, I'm going to, just for the fact that a lot of guys are trying to be the big guy in a little guy's division, so they might have 15 to 20 pounds on me at times, but I'm not going to be worn out from cutting weight. I'm going to have that energy. I'm going to have that speed.
Right.
But I'm going to kind of switch up some training afterwards to see maybe if I can make myself stronger just to deal with that extra weight.
Good
Maybe
for
come
you.
in for a little bit of CrossFit.
Yeah, I might try it.
Definitely Systems Training Center.
Yeah.
Now, with the 125 division being the new division in Bellator, they have it in the UFC. If there were to be a 115 division, especially now when the UFC is going into to Latin American countries where you have a lot of lighter guys, you watch boxing, you have a lot of guys fighting at 115, 117. Do you think you can make 115?
I would love to have a 115, 118-pound weight class. I feel like the same way they created the 25-pound division for other guys like Mighty Mouse, that'd be perfect for me. I fought twice as an amateur at that weight. The first time I made 117, I was like, dude, I don't know if I can do it. It took me a while, but I would love for that. That'd be perfect. I think that'd be a division tailor-made for me because I could be the big guy, and it would work out awesome for me.
So you would like to cut those extra pounds?
I'd love it just because I mean, I'm not that guy that's not going to say, oh, I don't want to cut the weight. It's better for me. It'd be exciting to see a lot of other guys that'd be even faster than the 125ers. And I would love to see what it's like to finally be the big person in the cage sometime.
That's true. How tall are you?
I'm 5'4".
Okay.
So I'm not.
You'd fit right in that 115.
I'd fit in there perfect.
You mentioned speed, and obviously in the lighter weight division, speed is more important than in the bigger weight divisions. And it's been a long thing for a long time. People, especially in boxing, we're talking about a heavyweight has a longer career because you're not as reliant on speed as you are in the lighter weight classes.
Right.
Do you feel that speed slows down with age, or now at 34, do you feel as fast as you did when you were 25?
I actually feel just as fast as I ever have been, and now that you learn how to throw punches and how to throw kicks, it actually makes it a whole lot faster. And I know that the punches and kicks that you don't see are the ones that hurt, so that also can help a whole lot. But the good thing too, I do pack some power in my speed and punches. Like I said, I finished my last fight. I only threw one punch and finished that fight, so that's a good thing to have. But I don't think it slowed me down, and if you train properly, I don't think it'll slow you down either.
So you have knockout power, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
And
I have some back there.
Do you think this will go the distance?
No, I don't expect this to go past 2.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you expect it to end?
I want to finish this guy either by knockout or TKO. But like I said, I have the feeling he's going to try to take me down. And if he does take me down, I say welcome to my world. You won't last down there pretty long. But and not to sound cocky or overconfident, it's just I believe in my skills and I believe in the guys I've trained with. And my jiu-jitsu is better than his, and I know if I hit him, it's going to hurt.
What do you think about the main event? Tito Ortiz versus Stephan Bonnar. Who do you think will win that fight?
You know, if the fight stays standing, I think Tito will lose. I watched some interviews that they had last night, and Stephan's like, look, he's going to want to take me down. Everybody knows that there is no surprise. He is the father of ground and pound being Tito. But he could surprise us, and he could say, hey, I want to stand and bang. But like I said, watching the interviews, they both kind of don't really seem like they want to win. They just want to put on a show, or one guy says, I don't want to win. I just want to hurt him. So we'll see. I mean, maybe they're just talking just for right now. But if I was a betting guy, I'd just bet on Tito.
Are you excited about the fight?
I'm excited. I want to see all the fights that's on this card are stacked. I mean, I'm just happy to be a part of such a huge fight like this. You know, Stephan Bonnar, what he did for the UFC, what Tito's done for the UFC, the fact that I get to watch a huge card, and I'm stoked to see which corner they're going to put me in. If I'm going to be over there with Tito, with Bonnar, or Michael Chandler, so I'm really excited for that too.
And that's your era as well, right? Is that the first fighters you watched coming into mixed martial arts? Tito Ortiz, Stephan Bonnar?
Yeah, that's more my generation. I mean, I've gone back now and watched all the Ultimate Fighters, so I've really gotten to see those guys come up on that show as well. But yeah, that's like my generation.
Are you excited? Are you excited about the fight?
I'm super excited. I mean, do I agree or like all the antics leading up to it? No, absolutely not. I think it kind of takes away a part of MMA, but I'm super excited to see these two guys fight.
The fight that I'm most excited about actually is Joe Schilling versus Manhoef.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Because
Why?
one, I know Joe. Joe's a great guy.
Okay.
And here we got two top-level strikers, you know, from Manhoef from K1, Glory, and back in Japan, and Joe Schilling being the Glory middleweight champion at one point. And I'm excited to see these two kickboxers going at it in mixed martial arts. Are they gonna keep it standing?
Right.
I know Joe's been working. It's not just that he decided one day to start doing mixed martial arts. Been working. Manhoef's got quite a few MMA fights, so he's got the experience in the MMA world. But Joe, he's good friends with Nick Diaz. Been training. We've trained together, and I'm really excited about that fight.
Okay.
More so than the main event.
I would agree with you that I like when I see two strikers against each other, like Forrest Griffin, Stephan Bonnar, for example. One of the best fights in history of MMA.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't go to the ground at all, which was so cool to see because their stand-up was so amazing, yet there was so much going on. There was knockdowns, but they would get back up to their feet just to stand and strike. So
the thing is with Manhoef, when he lands a punch, that's the one thing. With a 4-ounce glove, with a 10-ounce glove, or 8-ounce glove rather, but now going down to 4-ounce glove,
right.
Manhoef can punch. He can take a punch and he can land a punch. Joe Schilling punches hard. I'm just excited because that's another level of kickboxing, another level of striking, and see how they adapted into mixed martial arts. And even though Manhoef's had a few MMA fights, Joe Schilling has not, and it'd be interesting to see how he does in there. Obviously, Ron, I'm more excited to see your fight.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you too. I guess outside of my fight, I'm excited to see that one just because, like I said, just following those guys, and I'm like, dude, when I saw that was on there, I'm like, wow, they added Joe Schilling and Melvin Man. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. Michael Chandler, Will Brooks, that rematch. Yes. I'm excited for that one as well. So like I said, outside of my fight, those are the 2 fights I'm looking forward to much more than the main event, just because I know there's going to be much more action. Not so much, let me just wait and see what this guy is going to do.
Right.
I'm really stoked to see how Joe is going to do with a guy like Melvin Manoff at this level. So it's awesome to see.
Are you early on the card so you get to watch the rest?
I actually don't know where I'm going to land yet. I'm just going to assume that I'm going to be kind of sort of early on the card, which would give me opportunity to watch everything else and not have to worry about when I'm going to go.
You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, they said fight week, I'll know, but that's the great thing. If I am first or second, I get to watch after I win and watch the entire card and hang out and chill with all the fans that are going to be out there. So
that's so cool.
And then King Mo as well against the Blast would be an interesting fight. You know, I want to see if King Mo has what it takes still. You know, at one point he was at the top of his game and had a couple of losses, and I want to see where he's at. And who do you think Chandler Brooks rematch here? Who do you think will take it this time?
I'm going to go Chandler. I just think he's a little bit hungrier, and after the coming off the loss to Eddie Alvarez, great fight. I think he's just going to have just that edge just because he wants it more.
How about you?
I would say emotionally Chandler. I don't follow them as much as I do the UFC guys, I have to be honest. But I'd say Michael Chandler.
And then talking about UFC guys, we got that fan on the card, and we see a lot of these guys from the UFC coming over to Bellator.
Right.
When you sign with Bellator, this is, which obviously hasn't been completely true because Ed Alvarez is now in the UFC. Did you worry when you signed your Bellator contract that you will know? Some people say you won't fight for the UFC if you sign with Bellator.
Yeah, that was a huge red flag and question mark that I had when this opportunity presented itself to me. I talked to Ed Soares about it, talked to all the guys at the Blackhouse to make sure that this was the right opportunity for me. And they went over it and they said, you know, this can work and they asked me straight up, like right now, if I were to be called to fight Demetrius Johnson, are you ready? I'm like, no, I'm not ready to fight the pound for pound best in that division. So this gives me an opportunity to better myself, to hone my skills, to get some more experience and get some more wins underneath my belt and get to that next level if Bellator isn't the home for me. So I was worried a bit, but just from talking to other people and seeing how it goes, it might not be the worst thing. And like just talking earlier before we did this, it's a win-win. I get to get on the second biggest stage for all the people who love MMA to see, and I can't really beat that. And coming from where I was, not really fighting and making any sort of money or people seeing me, so this is much better.
Do you feel that so you don't feel that it closed the door to the UFC per se?
No, it doesn't close the door to the UFC. I think with the way that Bellator, the old owners, they're gone now. You got different guys in there, Scott Coker in there, and the relationship with them and the UFC brass is a whole lot different now. It's a whole lot smoother. And the fact that Eddie Alvarez was able to go straight over, which sheds some light on, say, hey, if I win my fights in Bellator and like, hey, we need some fresh talent over here in the UFC, it should be easier.
World Series of Fighting is having an event that same night as well. It was supposed to be Cain Velasquez versus Fabricio Werdum, which now is switched to Mark Hunt instead. 3 fights same night by the 3 biggest organizations. Is this to show?
Crazy.
Yeah, is this from a business perspective? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is it a fight for market shares, or is it almost the way McDonald's looks at it? When McDonald's opens in one place, you see Burger King open across the street.
Right next to it, or the gas stations, you see, Shell and then Sunoco.
Yes.
But, I think that if I were anybody else but the UFC, I would keep my fights, my shows on a different night. I just wouldn't want to compete on that platform. I know a couple friends that own amateur leagues, and the reason they own amateur leagues is because they're not in competition with the UFC. They can almost become a parallel to the UFC, or feed their guys in the future to the UFC. It's good to be parallel to them, but I don't think it's good to be competing with them. So if I were Bellator, if I were World Series of Fighting, I would pick a different night, maybe a Thursday night or a Friday night, rather than to compete with these main cards on Saturday nights.
Have you heard anything about it being part of Bellator?
Well, this whole thing, well, the World Series fighting, I think they're the odd people out. I don't even know who's fighting on that card, so that goes to show how little they've done to promote it.
Yeah.
I've heard some weird things about why the UFC and Bellator were competing for this. You know, you listen to Tito, he says it's their fault because this fight was actually supposed to take place in Anaheim at the Honda Center.
Yes.
And he says, oh, well, they blocked this from happening. So, I mean, in a way, I wouldn't want to compete with the UFC as well, and especially that was like his debut in Mexico, and you know how huge that was going to be. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, I think, now that him getting hurt, them switching it over. So in a way, it's better for me too, bigger platform, but I wouldn't want to compete with him either.
Are you still gonna watch the World? Do you follow World Series of Fighting?
I do. I think John Fitch is supposed to be fighting Paul Harris for a title. That just because I know those names, I know of that fight. But like I said, I'm focused on my fight and then checking out the whole Bellator event and then kind of seeing how it plays out with Werdum on that card. But other than that, I'm not sure I'm going to check out the World Series of Fighting.
So, can you imagine that? This is actually the second time this happens to Fabricio Werdum.
Right.
Originally supposed to face Cain Velasquez, then that didn't happen because of no injury, and then he had to fight Travis Brown instead, which is a very dangerous opponent, but not for the belt. And then, again, it's all set up with the Ultimate Fighter, and now you're supposed to face Cain for the belt, and once again he gets pulled, and now it's an interim title, which... How important is that title really against someone like Mark Hunt with a 10-8 record, which is not a good record, but still dangerous to anyone in the world because all it takes from Mark Hunt is one punch.
Right.
How frustrating do you think it is for someone like Fabricio
I would be
Werdum?
pissed. I mean, you don't say no.
Right.
What happens when you say no?
I think Fabricio goes, whew. Just because of the wrestling and the cardio part. I think he's like, oh, dude, I don't have to worry about that. It does change. It is frustrating. You prep for one guy. I know the feeling when guys fall out. That's how it is. But I think it's an easier, much more winnable fight for him.
Yeah, but there's what is he winning? You know, an interim title opposed to an actual title?
It guarantees he's going to fight Cain when he comes back, too, though, having that interim title.
If he wins. Because this isn't a lose-lose situation. Anyway, if it beats Mark Hunt, like you just said, it's an easier fight. He's expected to beat Mark Hunt, who's 10-8. Fabricio Werdum has been, he's on a win streak. He's been some really big names. And then again, that overhand right by Mark Hunt
I was
can
just
come
gonna
at
say,
any
that
time.
walk-off.
It's like he could be dominating the fight, winning as he should be.
Yeah.
And then he could catch one of those punches like we've seen time and time again with Mark Hunt, and then it's out. And it's like, who's the better fighter? But he caught that punch, and it becomes one of those.
If Fabricio's smart. If he's smart, he's going to try to take him down and put him on his back where Fabricio was light years ahead of him. So, I mean, if I were him, that's what I would do to play it safe and to kind of guarantee my title shot against the heavyweight champ.
I agree, and that's what you should do. And it's about winning. Especially at that level, it's about winning at this point. He doesn't have to prove anything because he's already next in line for the title. I just want to point out something real quick. We're watching the weigh-ins right now. It's Phil Davis coming on to the scales, who's about to face Glover Teixeira, who you train with as well, Glover down at Blackhouse.
Yeah.
Now, I was on a podcast a couple of days ago predicting this fight, and the guy I actually have a bet going with the guy who has the podcast, Kevin. There's no chance in hell that Phil Davis will beat Glover Teixeira. There's no
way.
Chance.
No way.
Not only did he think that Phil Davis is going to win. By the way, I respect Phil Davis a lot. It's a great fighter.
Great fighter.
I think Glover Teixeira, except from John Jones and Alex Gustafsson, is the best in the world.
Yeah.
He thought Phil Davis was going to stop him.
No.
He thinks he's going to knock him out.
No way.
No.
Glover Teixeira is the guy. I was watching highlights the other day, and I was remembering and reminiscing back to his fights. He's the same type of guy. He could be in a horrible position, but once he gets that one punch, out, done.
Yeah.
Watching him on the pads, and you've seen it as well. Watching him with Lyoto Machida, watching his jiu-jitsu and his wrestling. He said it, and he wants a rematch with John Jones. He says he will do a lot better. I think he will as well.
I think he will too. I'm a fast guy, and he borrowed me just for me to throw punches at him, and he had some great head movement. I hit him, but it wasn't like I thought it was. And then the one time I hit him a little too hard, I was like, oh, because he gave me this look, and I thought I was gonna die. But
that's awesome.
But no, Glover's great. I've seen him train, and I don't think Phil can stand those punches. No.
And Phil has shown he doesn't like getting hit much. And Glover, his wrestling is really underestimated. He's got really, really good wrestling.
Yeah, he does.
And even if he does get taken down, he's very strong, and his jiu-jitsu is solid. And now we gotta wait. We're about to end this, but we gotta watch the weigh-ins and see who was right. Is it gonna be in the shoving? Is it gonna be in the fighting? Is it gonna be in the antics at the weigh-ins? And are they both gonna make weight? Which I presume is not gonna be an issue for either one.
Yeah, no.
Did you guys see Conor McGregor going at it with Chad Mendes the other day?
Yes.
I read about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read all about it.
Yeah.
Again, Conor McGregor, pound for pound, speaking out, he would beat Chael Sonnen. He has an answer to anything that's being said. The only thing verbally,
I was gonna
absolutely.
say.
No, not fight wise. We don't know that yet, but verbally, pound for pound, the best.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. He plays up his character. I mean, everyone's like, is he that good? Isn't he that good? To be honest, it doesn't matter. He's still going to go far.
Yeah.
Because of his mouth. I mean, he is a great fighter, but he's also an amazing persona. And just like Chael Sonnen, it's going to get him places.
I think he's just going to talk himself into a fight, and then I think the hype train will die pretty soon. If
you
he
think
fought,
so?
Yeah, I think it will.
You don't think he'll beat Joel?
I don't think he'll beat Jose Aldo. Not at all. I don't think he beat Chad Mendes either. I think Chad is too great a wrestler.
Yeah,
and too strong and too athletic of a guy. I just don't think he has the skill set for Jose Aldo either.
Who do you have for this fight?
I have Jose Aldo. I'm a huge Jose Aldo fan. He's been one of my favorites since the WC days. So there's some things I love that he does, and I try to mimic as well. So I say Jose winning this in maybe 3.
Oh, we're gonna see some of that on November 15th.
Oh, we're gonna see some of that. We're gonna see some nice leg kicks. We're gonna see some good stuff. This is my chance to put on a show and show what I'm gonna bring to Bellator and what I can bring to the future.
I like that. I like the confidence, and I like what you're saying. That
Me too.
It's in a humble way, like you said. You're being realistic, but it's obviously important being confident when you fight. Skill-wise versus confidence, percentage-wise, how important is it?
You know, I think if you have the confidence, it's gonna show in what you do, and then when you get better, then your skills are gonna start to kind of match up. Before I got to the Blackhouse, I mean, I had certain talents. But getting there, I got better. And then it's like, hey, you're not going to fight someone like Pedro right now. So fighting guys like that in the gym, it gives me confidence when I'm going up against someone in the cage that it's for real. Because if I get beat up by a world-class guy, now I'm fighting someone who's not a world-class, I'm prepared. I've faced worse. So I think you do need to match it up. I don't think you should have overconfidence because I've seen what happens when you go in there thinking you're the best person in the world when you're not. So and having a big mouth about that kind of hurts you too. So when you talk too much and then it's all over.
Now, you stepped in for the first time a couple of weeks ago. How you look confident. If you haven't seen, you gotta, because you were dancing in there. You gotta watch a little dance. There's a little bit of dancing going on. Gotta watch the dancing. How confident were you?
Really, really, really confident. I don't know why. I don't know what came over me. Like he said, I've trained with people that give me nightmares at night. So I think going in there with somebody that was smaller than my sparring partners and less experienced than my sparring partners really gave me that edge. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
The girls that beat me up in the gym are, she's not. So I think it was that more than anything. But I was just so excited.
And we're watching here as Jose Aldo's getting undressed because he can't make weight. But now he did. He had to take off his underwear.
Yes.
You looked very excited about that. Ron. Not you. I was talking to Ron.
Oh, hey.
And there we go. None. Zero.
And Chad Mendes only has one hand up. I think that's like an insult.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
only need one hand to beat you.
I was completely wrong. You were both right. We're going to end it there. Ron, thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing you in Bellator November 15th.
Thank you, guys.
Daria, vitamin C for you.
Yes.
Get well soon.
Yes. Good luck.
All right, guys. Thank you.